Good morning and welcome to Daily Devotions with Pastor Joe. I'm Pastor Joe, recording this video from a undisclosed hotel out in Pennsylvania this morning. And we're looking at Psalm 14, which is a very beautiful psalm of David, as my Bible says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. And the Psalms were primarily sort of like a song that David and other Israelites would sing or would speak to the sound of music. And so most likely David would have been playing his harp along as this beautiful psalm was being spoken. He says, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread and call not upon the Lord? There were they in great fear. For God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad." And this is very clearly talking first and foremost about a historical event, a historical time frame, where David looked around to the countries and the nations outside of Israel and said, oh, there's nobody out there that's doing anything for God. There's nobody out there living for God. They're all corrupt. They're all fools. They've all said that there's no God, so they're all atheists. There is none of them that does good, or in other words, does what the Lord commands. And the Lord can look down from heaven and see all of the children of men outside of Israel, he's saying, of course, and none of them understand, none of them seek God. They've all gone aside. They've all become unclean and filthy. There's none that does good. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Don't they understand? And Paul reiterates the same idea in the New Testament when he tells us that nature itself teaches us about God. That's a shame in this world. A lot of people say April 1st is International Atheist Day, because this psalm and another passage in the Proverbs says that the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. And so they've shamed the counsel of the poor. The Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion, when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people. And to us today, this psalm is also speaking. It's not just talking about during the time of David, whenever Israel was being oppressed by all of these people around the outside, and David is protecting them and doing his best and serving the Lord and bringing peace to Israel. But it's talking even to the Christians today, because the salvation of Israel has come to us. It's come out of Zion, outside of Israel, and it's reached out into the captivity of all of God's people. It's reached out and saved all sorts of people from all kinds of races, all kinds of creeds, all kinds of nationalities, all of these people all around the world being saved, because the Lord did answer this very prayer of David, and he sent captivity captive, and he sent the salvation that was supposed to be spread from Israel. It was really their job to spread the word of the Lord and let other nations know that God wanted them to serve him. But they didn't do that, and so Jesus had to make a special band of disciples to do this work. And so he did. He made the work happen, and his word spread, and the world knows now about Jesus and the great that he has done. And they know about the Lord, and they know that the Lord desires that personal relationship and wants them to serve him. And so what once was such a shame and a shamble and a sadness for David has become something great for everybody. He said, why is it that God is not spreading out and nobody's understanding about God and seeking God? Now we can. Yet kind of what he's saying applies a lot today too, because in our day and age we have a lot of people who say in their heart there is no God. We have a lot of people who are corrupt and do abominable works, who, whether they claim there is a God or not, they don't live as if there's a God. We have a lot of people also who say there is no God, but they live as if there was a God. We have a lot of people out there who are altogether become filthy. And I try to stay out of the news cycle, so I'll stay out of the news cycle. But there's a lot of people out there today doing some pretty awful things in the world, and just We hear accusations all over the place. Accusations don't mean a thing, but we know there are a lot of people doing a lot of bad things out there. The world is filled with sin, and it's a shameful place. And we are supposed to be the shining lights and examples, as we talked about on Monday, the light and the salt for the world to see, so that the word of God can be spread abroad, so that the whole world can know that the Lord, He is God. And so it's our duty today to answer this very question, that the salvation of Israel come out of Zion, that the salvation of Israel spread abroad, that people will understand and seek God. That's our job, that's our duty, that's our responsibility today. So if you find yourself in a place where you look around and you see a lot of people that aren't serving God, and you say, man, there's just not a lot of Christians around here, maybe you ought to take the first step to go out there and invite them to church. Go out there and tell them about Jesus. Go out there and tell them your own personal salvation experience. Tell them why you love the Lord. Be ready with an answer to tell them why you trust in Jesus. All right. Thank you for joining me for another Daily Devotion with Pastor Joe. If you like the content, like that video. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe down below. Hit the bell icon for notifications. Share this video with a friend, and I'll see you again tomorrow on another Daily Devotion with Pastor Joe. God bless, and have an excellent day in the Lord.